Hello, beautiful people. I'm Yuval Ben-Ami, a travel guide and a writer. These are the days of the coronavirus outbreak, and I'm spending a portion of them traveling the state-sanctioned 1 kilometer radius around my home to share its beauty with all of you. And as you can tell, today, having walked 1 kilometer to the northwest, I am sitting in a field of flowers, which is rather fortunate at this time in history. I am thinking a lot about people who are less fortunate than we are, and I would like to dedicate this installment of 1 kilometer from Yuval's home to the medical crews who are working to defeat this pandemic. And medicine begins with plants. Even some of the substances helping to treat COVID-19 patients are based on medicine that's derived from tree bark and such. So today, let's talk a little bit about the flowers around me and the flowers of Provence and the plants of Provence in general. On my way here, I picked a few samples of indigenous plants. This is black oak, and you find a lot of it in the hills. This, I mentioned it yesterday when I was up in the mountain with my daughter, and I love it especially much, is wild thyme. And as you can see, it's in bloom. We use it in cooking and baking, and it's splendid. And this, the flower that's all around me, well, in order to identify it, I brought this Herbier de Provence by Michel Dessottes, who actually painted all the wondrous herbs and flowers. Here is the beautiful coquelicot, the poppy that's about to arrive in a few weeks, so that we can identify them. And this yellow flower is indeed Pensée. So the most beautifully named French flower, and its name alludes to thought, and there is a poem that I love by Jacques Prévert about this flower. This is the Herbier of Provence. So these are the wild plants of Provence. And maybe it's time to ask, what is Provence? And I ask this question especially because Provence is largely defined by its flora. Provence is half of Mediterranean France. And Mediterranean France stretches from the Alps to the east, to the Pyrenees, to the southwest. So from what is today the Italian border to the Spanish border. And then from the sea inland about, now I'll speak in miles, about 100 miles, roughly 100 miles, until these plants are no longer as abundant. As far as where you can nicely cultivate olives, actually. If you travel up the Rhône River, by around just before the city of Valence, the climate becomes continental and the landscape changes. So this is a strip that is about 100 miles wide and about 300 miles long. But when I say Provence, I say that it's only half of that. And why it's only half of that is something that we will touch on in episodes to come. Remember, it's only half, only the eastern half, the southeastern corner of France, and in effect, the gradual decline of the Alps towards the sea and the Rhône River Valley. Maybe one last word about animals. I speak a lot about plants because I can show them, but there is a fair bit of wild fauna around here, especially boars that walk the hills. Recently, more wolves than we are used to. The boars are hunted, but it's still a very, very active and healthy population. I mean, I see them roaming in families. I see rabbits. I see such beautiful birds. The pea or the magpie that flutters around this time of year and will stay with us into summer. The most astonishingly lovely butterflies. And then when summer comes, the real symbol of Provence is the cicada, unfortunately, and it's going to drive us crazy for months. But these months are still to come. Until tomorrow, stay safe, be safe, I trust in you all, and keep smiling.